Tonight is the 7th and final State of the Union address from President Barack Obama. With us tonight to give us a preview, Valley News Live D.C. Bureau Chief Jacqueline Paoli-Castro. Jacqueline, always great to have you with us. You're out there on the Hill every day. What's the atmosphere on the eve of the State of the Union or the day of the State of the Union?
Well, it's definitely a lot different tonight than it usually is up here on Capitol Hill. One of the biggest things is there's just so much more media. We're really packed in the rotunda right now, and we're very close to where the president is giving his address. So that's why all the media sort of crowds around this area, because we see lawmakers come through and all the excitement happening here. Also, all the lawmakers are going to be making their way to the chamber, bringing guests from the local community. So it's definitely a lot different tonight than it usually is here on Capitol Hill.
You've heard a lot of different things about this particular speech since it is his last one. What do you hear in being on the Hill, what the speech is going to be like and what it's going to be about tonight?
Well, I've heard a lot from my contacts at the White House. They're saying that this speech is going to be very different from a typical State of the Union. Usually you hear the president lay out his ideas for the coming year, but in this case, it's the president's last year and last State of the Union address. He is planning on laying out his ideals for the nation moving forward, long-term plans, not just these, hey, here's what I'd like to see Congress work with me on in the next year. We also know that the president has shown he's willing to go at it alone, and that's, we hear, going to be a theme of tonight's speech. He's not making this speech to Congress, but rather to the American public.
Anything specific that you've heard from your contact at the White House that, hey, Chris, you know what, this is what people should really be looking for, that he's going to go out there and talk about specifically and really put a focus on?
Nothing too specific, but we know, of course, immigration, gun control. We saw the president come out last week and make that executive order when it comes to gun control. And that's sort of a theme that we hear, again, the president might be taking into his last year in office, bypassing Congress and using whatever power he has to move along legislation. We expect to hear about immigration as well. Some of these hot topic issues that are typically in a State of the Union address, except for the president may be talking about those ideals in a more long-term plan.
You brought up a great point. I was talking to Senator Hoeven on Saturday. Obviously, I've talked to Representative Kramer as well. And one of the things they continue to discuss is, hey, Chris, it seems like this president is trying to make us irrelevant, bypass us with executive actions or whatnot. You're on the Hill. I just saw you talking to some lawmakers a moment ago. What are you hearing from them about the speech tonight and the overall feel of what's going on with the State of the Union?
Well, Chris, you might not believe it, but I actually have heard optimism from members of Congress here on Capitol Hill. Both the Democrats and Republicans that I've talked to have said they're really looking forward to this year because we have a new Speaker of the House. And the plan, according to the new Speaker, is that lawmakers are going to be able to vote on legislation in a different way than they have for the past several years. They're going to be more involved in the legislative process, what's called regular order up here on Capitol Hill, which means that budgets will be passed and that lawmakers will have a chance to negotiate more before bills are voted on. So we're going to have to wait to see if that actually happens, but it was pretty refreshing to hear from several members of Congress who said that they're looking forward to seeing if that might actually happen this year.
I was just going to say, I think that sounds great, Jacqueline, but I feel like I've heard that tune before. And in that context, I mean, it's an election year, presidential election year. Is there any reality that anything gets done this year coming out of D.C.?
Oh, the political reality, that's what you want to know about. Well, let's talk about that for a second. The political reality here on Capitol Hill is that, yes, it is an election year, and we see time and time again that not a ton gets done in the halls of Congress during an election year. The focus really is on the candidates. And we also know, of course, it's the president's last year, and we've seen this relationship with Congress that hasn't been going quite well, where the president has been making a stand, saying that he's going to go at it alone. So the political reality is that it's very difficult. But like I mentioned, there is still some optimism here, and I'd like to take the optimistic route as well and say that we'd hope that members of Congress can still function on Capitol Hill, push through legislation, push through budgets, and keep regular order up here on Capitol Hill.
You've kind of stunned me a couple times using the word optimism because everyone talks about the divisiveness that's going on in this country right now. Last question for you. What's the most optimistic thing you've heard from a Republican lawmaker?
from a Republican lawmaker. I think the most optimistic thing I've heard this week from a Republican lawmaker is that they really believe in Paul Ryan's new ideal. That they say, out with the way of John Boehner, where a lot of this was coming from the top down. A lot of big decisions were made here on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers were kind of forced to vote on legislation before they felt that they had the chance to really voice their concerns or opinions about the legislation. So I've heard that not just, though, from Republicans, but also from Democrats, that they're looking forward to getting back to the place where they can have a bigger say in what they're voting on. And I think that that's the design. That's what we'd like to see happen. I think when it comes to talking to our local communities, we want them to know that they do have that voice, that they can come to their members of Congress to talk about what's important to them and what they'd like to see happen up here on Capitol Hill, and that the lawmakers are representing their communities in that way. And I don't think that it's possible for them to do that, when they're sort of handed a piece of legislation and said vote yes or no.
Jacqueline Policastro always does an outstanding job for us. Jacqueline, I got to tell you, I'm jealous. I wish I was going in there tonight as well to check it out. So enjoy it, savor it, and thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Take care.
Our Valley News Live DC Bureau Chief again, Jacqueline Policastro. Stay with us when we come back. We're going to get your thoughts on the State of the Union. So please share your point of view on what you expect to hear tonight, what you would like to hear tonight from our Chief Executive. Very easy to do. Head to our website, or you can email us or text us. We'll be back with much more right after this.